In the area of sustainability, which is a very big one, let me kind of bring you first, take us through what is happening around the whole climate change space. In Singapore, we are vulnerable, as is Africa. Kenya is actually a pioneer, I mentioned earlier, in ensuring that nature is an integral part of the country, and that doesn't change. And conservation, there's been a lot of work that has been done by Kenyans globally. They've made a name for themselves. So in that respect, Singapore, our net zero ambitions, we are trying to decarbonize as a country. Our net zero ambitions are very high. The problem is that we are a small country, so we are resource scarce. We don't have the resources to do it on our own. So in this respect, Africa as a continent, if we look at it first as a continent, is blessed with a lot of resources related to helping the world decarbonize. So if we look at the renewables, and just the fact that Kenya has solar energy, geothermal, wind, those are things that we don't have. We have some solar, but that's not enough. So we would like, specifically with Kenya, and we've done it with other countries, is to sign an implementation agreement under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, where we will be involved, and when we say we, it is companies from Singapore working with Kenyan partners to develop projects in Kenya. So this is where Singapore companies bring their technical expertise, they bring their experience, they bring green financing, work with Kenyan partners to develop projects in Kenya. It could be nature-based projects, which is centered around helping communities to develop in a sustainable manner. So there's a strong community impact, but also these projects will help Kenya in its journey of decarbonization by creating the carbon credits, and generally, they just helping the environment. So those are the types of projects that we're interested in. It could be nature-based, it could be non-nature based, it could be, for example, in the area of mobility, it could be electric mobility, those kind of projects. It could be cook stove projects, and many others. We are not closing our eyes to any type of opportunity where carbon credits can be generated. Now, I mentioned the implementation agreement. That is the discussion that is ongoing at a government-to-government level. Our respective agencies have been discussing for some time. The discussions right now are at very, very advanced stages. Of course, it's always hard to put a date, but personally, I'm hopeful that within the year, the signing of the implementation agreement will happen. But that's my own estimate of the timeline. But that will be an important anchor point for the investments, the technical expertise to flow from Singapore to Kenya, and then for those projects to take shape. And these projects are long-tail projects. They're 20, 30, 40-year projects. The amount of investment is the numbers constantly grow. Usually at the start it may be 10, 20 million, but because the investment requires to continue to happen over time, the amount of investment that actually happens is a lot more. But also, the type of jobs that are created, the community impact, all of that is important. So anchor point will be the implementation agreement. The projects will start to happen, and then for us in Singapore, the carbon credits that are generated, some of those, if they are transferred using the frameworks, the government frameworks, then we can use those credits in our own net zero journey as a country. So that's in the sustainability area specific to climate change. We are very hopeful that the implementation agreement gets signed quickly, and then everything will start to happen. But regardless of the implementation agreement, there is already companies in Kenya who are generating carbon credits through the different projects they're doing that are looking to Singapore to actually find buyers for their credits. Now, this is outside of the frameworks of the implementation agreement. This is just general offtake agreements, which many of the Kenyan companies have been on selling because they've been generating these credits to many types of buyers. Now, why is it that these originators of carbon credits in Kenya are looking to Singapore? The reason is because Singapore, apart from what I mentioned, is very ready to deploy our companies, the finance, to do projects here. In Singapore, we're also trying to develop ourselves as a hub for decarbonization types of projects, to become an exchange for carbon credits that are generated around the world, high quality credits. Now, in that journey, why Singapore is becoming an interesting point is because we are one of the few countries in the world where we have been very transparent about the carbon tax that we are going to implement. Now, I mentioned we have very ambitious net zero goals. So one of the avenues to achieve those net zero goals is to change the behavior of corporates. Now, to change the behavior of corporates, one of the tools we are using is carbon taxes. Now, we have been, as a government, very transparent about the trajectory at which the carbon tax is going to increase. And because we are so open about it, many of the companies here that are generating carbon credits in Kenya and who have been maybe on selling those credits at a lower valuation because they don't see the market potential, now are looking to Singapore to be able to price their carbon credits right. And because we've been so clear about the taxes that we're going to put on companies, they know that if my tax is this much, then a seller of carbon credits will actually get better value if they can sell those carbon credits at par, either at that level or whatever is the negotiated level. But you see, you're getting fair value for your carbon credits that are now being generated here. So that is another angle that Kenyan companies are looking to use Singapore. And it's not just getting fair value, but it is also because the exchange is made in such a way that we are onboarding buyers of carbon credits from around Asia. So these could be large off-takers from places like Indonesia, companies from China, from India, and so on, who also need carbon credits to help at an enterprise level to help them decarbonize. So this is actually quite an interesting angle that many Kenyan companies are talking to us about.